Good morning, everybody. It's Monday. It's Monday. That's all I've really got for you. It's the end of January. I can't believe that already. We're already through a month. For those of you that are regular viewers, you may have noticed that I got a good start. I did like 3 days in a row a few weeks ago, and then vanished and haven't been back for a couple of weeks. And the reason for that was I've been on the road like crazy. I was at an event called CodeMash, then I was at an event called That Conference, then I was at some meetings in California last week, and so it's just been nonstop craziness. And it's not just this stream; it's everything. I've been everything is kind of slipped around me. I've got all these projects at home, and there's just too much going on. So I'm playing catch up now. But I have no foreseeable travel for the next couple of months, and that feels pretty good. Now, I'm sure something will pop up, but for now, I don't seem to have anything on my schedule. So my hope is to do 3, 4, 5 days a week of this. Just get in here, build some stuff, maybe an hour, maybe hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if we're really feeling it, and try to do that every day, build a really good cadence. We used to have a lot of fun doing this. I had a whole chatbot that did a casino and a bunch of other things. And good morning, Chris Woodruff. How are you? Chris is a good old friend of mine. We are old friends. Neither of us are actually old. But as you are spending your mornings, hopefully you'll be able to join me once in a while. I was looking into getting the casino chatbot up and running, and I discovered that Twitch has completely changed all of their APIs, and so a lot of the technology that I used, which was based on a JavaScript library called TMI, which was basically using an IRC kind of chat protocol, all of that has been disabled. And so, since we were last here, none of that stuff will work, even if I wanted it to. So, here we are. We're going to get moving. I'm going to show a couple of things going on with the skill, and we'll take it from there. So, happy Monday. Welcome, everybody. All right, let's get right into it. We'll do this view. There we go. The left audio channel is louder than the right, Stupak says. I don't know how that would be possible. Let me take a look and see if that's something that would even be possible. As I look at this, can you even hear me right now? I don't see any audio actually happening. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, there it is. No, it looks to be the same to me. So I don't think that there's anything that's different between the two channels, but all right, cool. Anyway, here we are. I've got my screen in front of me. This is our testing console for Alexa, and then I've also got my development console, which I've got sitting here. So one of the things that I've added since, because I've been coding on this a little bit since the last time I was on stream, is that I added an office hours intent. And so I thought I'd just show you guys how that works. I also found an interesting, I don't know if it's a bug, but it's definitely an inconsistency between local debugging and deploying my code and running it in Lambda. And the catch for me was this letter P right here. Let's see if I can't blow that up a little bit for you. So I am referring to a APL document. APL is the visual interface language for Alexa. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. So it's the interface. So if I wanted to build a screen that looked like this, I could do that with APL. And my simple interface, if we go look at my file, very, very simple, is just a video player that I'm pointing to a static video that's sitting out in my AWS S3 bucket. And so this all this does is play the video, and so there's nothing else fancy about it. But if I come in here and I say office hours, for example, I'm going to get an error. I think
this is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
So you can see that down here, it's actually playing the video that I've specified that it should play. So let's stop that. But it's a video that I've pulled down and made statically available there. So if I open my skill again,
welcome to the voice developer. Did you know I can repeat what I just said? Just say, repeat that, to hear anything I say a second time.
Perfect.
What can I help you do next?
So that is how the office hours thing works. Is I can just ask it to play office hours, and it'll play whatever the video that I've specified is. Now, that's obviously not an ideal way to do this. If we look at the code, I have statically referred to a specific MP4 that lives on the internet. That would not be an ideal way to do this because it would always only play that one. So where I eventually plan to take this, and I'm not going to do this today, is that in my office hours intent, I want to leave myself with a couple of to-dos. The first one is remove the static URL to the office hours, I'll just say to the video from the APL doc. The other one is add the ability to request previous episodes by date. So you could say, give me the January 4th episode or the January 11th episode or whatever. And then obviously you'd have to provide years too. So that is stuff I plan to do. Not what I'm going to do today because I don't have a ton of time. I actually have some calls that start at 10 a.m. this morning. So I thought I would just get in here and get a couple of things done. But this is still a good start just to remember what my to-dos are. And just as a reminder, I have this cool add-in for VS Code called To-Dos, and what it allows me to do is recognize all of the to-dos I have. It breaks them down by files, and so I can go in and say, oh, well, okay, I want to work on this today. And so if we find the office hours intent, which I think I just closed, where did it go? Office hours intent. You can see that it says remove the static URL. It's these two to-dos. It just takes that text and adds it, and so you can come into these and go right to them or do whatever you want to find out where you should be doing all of your work. Good morning, Kevin Evans. Anyway, so that is where my to-dos live, and so what I wanted to do today actually isn't going to be getting any coding done. It's going to be setting up some tests for the future. I've noticed now that as I look at my handlers, you can see that I have answer intent, break intent, buy product intent. There's like we're getting up there with the number of intents that we have, and this is going to become increasingly confusing as we go. It says Stupak, you say I have some kind of auto gain or something happening. I don't think so. You're the first person that said something to me about my audio. Kevin, Chris, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. But I don't think that I'm doing anything different. I've got a microphone running through a soundboard and the soundboard running into my computer, but I haven't changed anything in several years, so I don't think it's any different than it normally is. So I apologize for that. Anyway, what I wanted to do is come into our console and look at our testing tools. So if I go to our build tab, which I guess I could have done by going here. Let's go back. If I go to our build tab, we have this evaluate model tool. And one of the things that I can do is look at natural language evaluation. So this is tests that I can set up that say, if this thing is working, then, if a user says this thing, then I expect this outcome to happen. And so what I'm going to do is, let me look at my annotation sets first, skip the tutorial. I want to remove this one. I don't know what this is, but I created that in October, and it's probably not relevant now. This automated test set tool will be no longer available on February 1st. That's in a couple of days. Well, why don't we do that now, just so we have it. So we're going to base this on interaction model only. We're going to create a test set. This should end up being pretty big. Because what it's going to do, 1,000, wow, 1,000. That's a nice round number. That makes me feel like I didn't get full coverage either. So what it does is it takes all of my intents, like answer intent, and it takes all of my slots, and it creates situations in which if the user says one of the utterances, like what is the link for account linking, which also doesn't seem like a thing. Okay. If I come into my intent for answer intent, what is the link? That isn't even a... Oh, what is the link? I see. I didn't even realize that I did that. Here, let me take a look, Stupak, see what you're saying. Office hours intent, which I think I just closed. Where did it go? Office hours intent. You can see that it says remove the static URL. It's these two to-dos. It just takes that text and adds it. And so you can come into these and go right to them or do whatever you want. Office hours intent, which I think I just... Weird, I don't... Where did it go? I don't know what you're hearing. I don't hear it. Did you hear it coming through that? I didn't hear it. Office hours intent. I mean, it's possible, like on my board here, that I have some kind of gain set up, but I don't think so. And if I do, it's always been there. I don't think so. Weird. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have a good answer for you on that one, man. I'm sorry if it's annoying. All right, I got to get this done though. I got to keep charging forward. So if I go back to my annotation sets, it didn't save that, did it? It did save that. So in here, I have all of these tests that it's created, and I probably can't see that corner. 1 through 10 of 1,000. So I can flip through and look at these different tests, but a lot of them are probably just going to be the answer intent because there's so many slot values. There we go. So like sound effect intent. So it says play fire. So it's actually using my slots and my utterances to generate a whole bunch of sample utterances like this, and then it tells me what slot should be hit and what should happen there. So I wonder, I'm just curious, this is 1,000 values. What happens if I run this test? So if I come back to this and say run an event, I can't imagine how long 1,000 tests are going to take to run. Maybe it's super fast. I mean, this room is actually really silent right now. Sometimes my PC makes a little extra noise, but even that isn't really making any noise. Okay, so we failed. So you wrote all the tests for me, and then we failed. Okay. That's cool. I can get rid of some of those anyway. And it's just, it's expecting lowercase David, and it's getting capital David. Those are weird failures. Also isn't letting me scroll this. Is that as far as I can go? Right. So we only failed a couple. We failed 16. I'd have to go dig into the JSON, I guess, to see. Oh my goodness, this is messy. Is there I think there's a way. Appearance. I thought there was a way where I could tell it to format all the text. There's a command for that I just don't remember. It's none of those. Let's see if we can. Can't remember what this is called. Just now the background noise increased. That's so weird that there isn't any background noise. I wonder if my computer is making noise. Yeah, I will definitely look at it later, but I just can't figure out. Let's close Steam. Let's close Discord. I don't think I have anything else that would make any noise here. Pretty strange. I mean, it's good feedback, and I really appreciate you guys letting me know. It's good. I swear that there is a command for changing the format, the wrapping, basically like, hey, maybe if I do this, view file save as. No, it is already a JSON file, isn't it? Yeah, it is a JSON file. So there is a place somewhere. Let's see if we can look that up online. VS Code command to format a JSON file. Control-Shift-I. This doesn't even seem to be treating it as a JSON file, though, which is weird. And that's so we can do that by. Oh, there's a way to do this too. Later, Chris. There's a way to tell it what kind of file it is. I don't remember how to do that. All these things that I used to be a wizard at, and you just don't do it for a little while. I feel like there's a Control-Shift-I doesn't do it. Format document in the context menu. I don't see any context menu. That would also help me. Nope, not having any luck with this today. Add configuration? That's not it, is it? No. Nope. Okay. Don't save. That's right. I don't care that much. So if we come back in here and we look at all of our tests, we have a few issues that are prevalent, and we can go look at some of those things because I need to clean this up anyway. So if we look at our slot types, we have one called answer, and there's a bunch of things in here that probably could go away. These are former colleagues and other things that we've added to this list over the years that aren't really true anymore. So I can just go through and kill any of the things that don't make any sense. Mostly looking for names. We've had an amazing array of people work on this team over the years, and many of them have moved on to new cool things at Amazon or other places. And we'll at least get all the names out of here. Okay, that's a good start. So I really shouldn't have done it that way, but if I take this back down to my code, we'll just do it this way. Yeah, Kevin, it looks like it's just not recognizing it as JSON, which is I think where my issue is. Oh no, I did not just do that. Let's not do that. Okay, so let's go into our actual slot here. And what we're going to need to do is get rid of them this way. Actually, this isn't even the place. What we should do, if we're being responsible, is that we should always go back to the data. So we go back to answer, and we have a table of values, and we should be able to come into this and say, all right, it looks like I've kind of cleaned this up. Okay. Yeah, so this was an easier fix than it needed to be. So I should now be able to say, if I get rid of those two, I can say delete. And then I should be able to come out here to the right and get my Alexa slot values. I'd be able to take this whole column and drop it right here. I'm going to bump this font size out just for a second to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. And that does that, and then we can do a little ask deploy. And going back to our tests, we should be able to delete this whole annotation set, because that isn't super helpful to me that there's like 1,000 of them. The things that I'm really interested in are, if I come back to this and just create annotation set, we're going to call this probably have a set of tests per intent, and then we'll just we'll use those tests as a way to verify that we haven't broken anything. So if we look at our intents, the first one is SpeechCon intent, and so we'll call this SpeechCon intent tests. And then, can I save it with nothing in it? Nice. Okay, so then I'm going to commit a SpeechCon intent. Let's look. We have say something, let me hear something. Say Bazinga. And if I do that, then what I expect it to do, and this is something that I recommend for all of you. If you don't do this regularly, this becomes, as your skill grows in scope and scale, this becomes an invaluable part of your ability to know if you've broken something. Now, obviously, we should be writing tests for code. We should be writing tests for integration across our services, like databases and things like that. But rarely do I see a lot of people build tests for their interaction model. And as a result, what you end up with is you add a new intent or you add a new utterance to something, all of a sudden everything else breaks. And so we're going to call this should be the SpeechCon intent. We expect there should be a slot called SpeechCon, and the value should be Bazinga. And you can see that it's even pre-populating all this with my actual slot values. So that's first here. Let's open two of these at the same time so I can jump back and forth. So if we look at my interaction model for SpeechCon intent, we can see that I have let me hear. So we'll do one of those. Let me hear, and let's come up with a different SpeechCon. Alrighty. Okay, this is going to be SpeechCon. Nope, this is going to be SpeechCon intent. And it's going to be SpeechCon again, and then this is going to be alrighty. Great. And so if we just come back here and say, I want to run this set, these two better pass. If they don't pass, we've done something horribly wrong. But where it starts to get tricky is especially when we start using words like play. I'm using play for a number of things, and what I found so far is that sometimes my model doesn't hit the right intent. So I will say, play this SpeechCon, and I don't have that in my interaction model right now. I took it out because it was breaking things. But that also means that I can't say it. This testing ability is not going away on February 1st. The ability to generate automated tests, if I say that right. So in here, the automated test set tool. So this is where I can come in and say, build me a whole bunch of tests based on my interaction model. That tool is going away February 1st. The other one that is going away is the ASR evaluation tool. This is the one that would allow you to either generate or record audio files of yourself or someone you're working with to say specific utterances, and that takes your audio and passes it through the speech to text and then the natural language understanding engine and all of the other black box steps that we have. And unfortunately, that one is going away as well. I don't know why. I've reached out and am rather concerned about that, but that seems like something that is going away. And so we can see, if I look at this evaluation for what I just created, that it basically ran these two tests for me. It verified that all of these things were true, and so my test passed. Now what's good about this is that now I have confidence. I have confidence knowing that right now if somebody says one of those things, that my skill is going to do what I expect it to do. But if I continue to grow this skill, which I'm going to, then I don't, without having these kinds of tests already running and passing, I don't have the confidence that when a user says something that it's going to do what I expect it to do. So let's go back to my annotation set, SpeechCon intent here, and let's add a couple of others, because I really would like play to work also, and I just haven't spent the time to figure out how I'm going to make that work. So this one needs to be SpeechCon intent. Let's get these other ones. Give me a SpeechCon. All right, give me a SpeechCon. This is again SpeechCon intent. I don't expect any slots this time because they didn't specify one. Give me a random SpeechCon. Good. This SpeechCon intent again. And the last one is pick a SpeechCon. No, I have 5 more. I'm sorry, I'm lying. So I don't need to do all of these, but let's say, let me hear a SpeechCon. No, I already did one of those earlier. Say a SpeechCon. Whoop. Okay, here we'll do that. And we'll add SpeechCon intent and save our annotation set. So the other thing that I'd like to do is be able to say play a SpeechCon. I would like to think that in a normal world this would work, but I don't think it will. And the reason for that is just an overloading of the term. So if I look at my interaction model, I have speech content, but I also have office hours intent. Office hours intent has play office hours, and sound effect intent has play a sound effect and play these different names of sound effects. And the sound effect names, there's thousands of them, and they're all over the place. So it looks like a very generic kind of slot. It doesn't know that these are specific names of sound effects, and that when I say SpeechCon, that shouldn't be in the list. It just looks like another word. Excuse me, it could be a sound effect. So we've gotten these, and we've saved this. I'm betting if I go here and I run my test again, that this time the batch as a whole will fail, but I think it'll only be the play one that actually fails. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with our test here. Did anybody watch any football last night at all? I actually watched both games, and I was getting some stuff done around the house at the same time, but I watched both the games because I had some I've gotten a little bit into sports betting, minor stuff, and like using the free money that these casinos are giving away. But last night, based on the outcomes of the games, I won $300. Pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody else is doing any sports betting stuff. I know Kevin Evans, I think you're in Pennsylvania, right? That's been around there for a little while. I don't know if that's your thing or not, but it was kind of fun to see the things that I picked earlier in the week happen. It was cool. Wow, it passed. Well, that's interesting. So if I come to the testing tab, and let's just get this rolling local debugging just so that it's easier to see what's happening. But if I come into the testing tab and I open my skill.
Welcome to the voice developer.
And then I say,
did you know I can repeat what I just said? Just say, repeat that. Phew.
Wow.
What would you like to do next?
That's interesting for a couple of reasons. First, I don't have the word play in my sample utterances. So if we come back here and look, if I go to the speech content, even with these extras, play is not any of these. But it was able to recognize the word SpeechCon because I have overloaded that here a ton. Huh. Well, that's good. I mean, that's how this is supposed to work, right? Machine learning. I shouldn't have to provide every possible way that anyone's going to say anything. All right. Well, that's good news. So we have our SpeechCon intent tests up and running and ready to go, and so we can run those anytime we want. We just come back to our annotation sets. Or I guess the evaluate model tool, and we can say, hey, run that one. We just pull down from the list and choose the ones that we want to run. Should we do some more? We probably should do some more. So answer intent is not actually something I've spent a lot of time on, and I have a lot of work to do, as you can see on my answer table. I have all of these phrases and terms over here, and I have a lot of synonyms for some of them, but I don't have a lot of answers written for a lot of them yet, and that's something that really needs to happen, because the more and more that we let people rely on asking this skill questions, the more and more that we need to have these kinds of answers ready for them. And so maybe that's a thing I could work on. I don't have a ton of time. We've got a half hour left. If I say, what's one of my answers? Alexa Live. And I say, there we go. Tell me about, or what if I say, what is Alexa Live?
You asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders, device makers, and business leaders on July 22, 2020. What would you like to do next?
So there's a couple of things there that it's not doing well. First, I'm not doing anything with the screen, so maybe we could tweak this up a little bit just to make this a little closer to what I want. I think we can do that fast. I didn't update the screen, so this is still from the last thing when it said, whew, right here. Alexa Live, that's such a tricky word, saying live versus live. I have a way to tweak that, and then we can focus on getting this screen to look right and delivering a card as well, because I think that's what I'm actually just sending as a card. So let's jump in and look at our answer intent, and maybe we could spend a little time on that. So I have a lot of to-dos in here. Okay, let's take a look. Right now I am, one of the other important things to note about all of this is that I'm also keeping track of what, oh, interesting. At least I was at one point keeping track of questions that are answers that user had gotten. So if you look at user, there's just one or two, and this is me, this row here. So you can see that I have a column here somewhere called user answer. And this user answer, so if I look at my user ID, it ends in M31C. And so these are all M31C user. And so these are all answers that I've gotten. But it literally just got me the Alexa Live answer, but didn't record anything here, because that would have happened on January 30th, 2023. And so that didn't get inserted there. So I think I'm not keeping track of that in here. Let's take a look. If there was a resolved answer, if the resolved answer was not found, then if they spoke something, we save a missed answer. That's good. And if they resolved something that we get their answer, we save, it says save user answer right there. What does save user answer do? Looks like it's trying to insert a record into save user answer. Did we have an error? I don't see an error. Why didn't that save? I thought I had built this already. You asked me about Alexa Live. Huh. No errors that I see. No. So why didn't it save something in that table? Well, not what I'm focused on right now anyway. What I wanted to do is look at what's being sent. So I have this with simple card that I commented out for now. And what I want to do, man, I built this a while ago. Okay. So what I want to do here is focus on if they actually got an answer, right? So that's this chunk here. And I say if they resolved an answer. So this means they said something that matches one of the items in my list. Yeah, Kevin, sounds like you made a few bucks early. Yeah, I did the same. I'm up. Well, now after last night, I'm up $2,100. Again, not retirement money, but certainly nice to have. And I've seen some people. It's so tempting to do. This would be a good thought experiment as we talk about sports betting. I generally bet like $10, maybe at the most, and I've seen some people on TikTok and some other places where they're doing what they call a bet ladder, and so they start with $100. That seems a little rich to me, but they start with $100. And they bet it on something that is basically even money, right? So it's like a coin toss. The way the odds are stacked, it's about a 50-50 chance you'll win or lose. And the payout reflects that, right? If you win, you about double your money. It's not triple or quadruple or anything, but it's also not a sure thing, where a sure thing bet might be you bet $100 and you win $30. So they're even. And so they bet $100, and if they win, then they bet $200 the next time, again, on an even 50-50 coin toss, so it always kind of just doubles your money. And their philosophy is that if you could just get 14 in a row, 14 in a row is a lot. I struggle to get 3 in a row. But if you could get 14 in a row, like if you really studied up and really did this right, and you just made one bet a day, and you just took your winnings every time and kept going, so you never really are out more than your $100 that you started with, 14 days later you'd have $1 million, because it would just keep doubling. And the thought experiment for me is, that sounds awesome. Man, it would be so cool to like turn some sports bets into $1 million. But that also means that there was a point where I had $32,000. Would I realistically, knowing that I turned my $100 into $32,000, would I really bet the 32, or I'd be like, I'm good, I'm going to stop? And honestly, like, it's probably not 32, right? Because before that would have been 16, and before that would have been 8, and before that would have been 4. I don't know. But, you know, if you think about it, 100 to 200, 200 to 400, 400 to 800, 800 to 1600, that's only 5 in a row. And that's, again, assuming you're willing to start with $100. That still seems like, if I get over $1,000, I'm probably stopping, right? I can't imagine a situation where I would be willing to keep the train rolling so that I'm betting $500,000 to win $1 million. I don't know. That just seems crazy to me. Okay, back to coding. I have 20 minutes left. What I want to do here is, I still want to send a simple card, but the thing that I need to get out of my database is that I have this value called answer that is just the answer that I'm getting out of the database. And answer has a whole bunch of properties. We can see it here. And so I'm using name right now. You can see that I'm using answer.name, and I have an answer.pronunciation. That's why it said, you asked me about Alexa Live, and it knew the right pronunciation, I think. Alexa Live. Oh, I don't even have a pronunciation for that. That's so weird that it pronounced them 2 different ways. But we can try and solve that. I wonder if I could do it the hacky way. What if I do like Alexa Live? Because this is a voice-only response. This is the one that she'll read. I wonder if I spell it that way, if she'll say it properly. Let's just test that. What is Alexa Live?
I think you asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational
Nice.
event for skill builders,
I love a good
device
phonetic
makers,
hack.
and business leaders on July 22nd, 2020. What would you like to do next?
Okay, so you can see that just by changing that to a Y, she always interprets that as live, not live. There are other ways to go about that, but because I provide a voice-only version of that, this is where I'm replacing the voice response in my speech with, or the speech itself with my voice response. And so that's a simple hack for that one data point, but I'll have to go through all of them at some point. So I have this value answer that has all the properties that come from this table. And so the thing that I really want, if we're thinking about what's going to go on the screen, is link prefix and link. So we could do something like this. Well, it's only if we have an answer, though. That's the only time we want to do this. So we're going to do handler input dot response builder dot with simple card, and in here it's just 2 comma delimited values, title and content. And so our title is going to be link prefix, which is just what I'm putting in this box here. And there's a reason, because I want different things depending on what it is. So link prefix is capital L. So we're going to do answer.link prefix. This also assumes all of them have that, which is another thing I'll have to fix. And then this needs to be answer.link, like so. So this adds the simple card to my response builder when I have an answer. All right, let's see what that looks like. So if I say, what is Alexa Live? It should replace this now.
You asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders, device makers, and business leaders on July 22nd, 2020. What can I help you do next?
Am I not doing... Oh, I still am doing local debug. Oh, I didn't restart it. That's why. I was like, why didn't it run my code? What is Alexa Live?
Here's what I know about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders, device makers, and business leaders on July 22nd, 2020. What can I help you do next?
So the reason that this is important is for a couple of reasons. There's a couple of reasons why this is important. One, doing a simple card is obviously very easy, and it's a way for me to get something to show on the screen. But if I come into activity in my Alexa app, you can also see, here I'll do this. Is it this one? Yeah. You can see, if you look at the top line of what's happening in my app, let's see if I can hide my face, that the card has been written to my Alexa app as well, which is super nice because it allows an easy way for me to provide that information to a user. Now, it's still not clickable, but it at least lets the user know, like, oh, here's the URL that you were looking for. And so that's my starting point. I'm still going to send that card no matter what, but eventually I'm also going to come up with a nice template. I wonder if there's a APL, maybe we could do this too, APL Ninja. Link. Let's see if I can find one with a... Open URL via button. That might be cool. Open an editor. Let's see what this looks like. And so yeah, so there's a URL specified right here. Well, you guys can't see that, sorry. There we go. So I'm using APL Ninja. He has a button just on the screen. And so I would be very curious to just see how this, well, let's just take this, copy. Thank you, Alexander Martin, for putting this website together. It's wonderful. I'm going to go into my APL, and we're going to do a new doc called answer button. Answer button? Answer link. Answer link .json. Okay, nope, spelled that wrong. Rename it. JSON. Okay, and then in here, we're just going to take that document as is. My JSON does not like comments, so we'll get rid of those. And we'll just save that as is. And then I have where's my office hours intent? My office hours intent. I have these two bits and an add directive. So if we come into the answer intent, we can do the same thing right here. So we'll just do this, and we'll say that that goes like that, and this instead is going to be answer link. All of the rest of this really stays the same. Did that APL doc have data sources defined? It did not. See, this is one of the things, like, consistency-wise, that I really struggle with. This one has data sources here at the bottom. So I have a document and a data sources, and this one, where'd it go? Answer link doesn't have that. So what I could do, let's just blow this away. So I'm going to take the video player one I have, and I'm going to put that here in answer link and just paste it. Now that's not the right APL, so then we'll go back to APL Ninja and we'll take this And this is going to be just the document part of our code. So if we look at document, that's inside these purple braces. So it's all of this. All the way down to here. And then I got to get rid of this stuff again. Okay, that document looks clean, and it now is in the format that I generally use. Now I just need to think about how I want to do this down here at the bottom. So I have this answer link, I have a directive, I have the document and the data sources coming out of there, and then the last step is to do a add directive line. And so we will try to consolidate some of our logic here. Let's just drop this for a second, and then we'll take this and put it down here. And then we can do like we do in other places, like so. All right, so that should add our directive. And now our answer link is generic and empty right now. It doesn't do what we want it to do. We can change that in a second. But if I reload this, we should be able to get our testing tool to show that same interface. So now if I say, what is Alexa Live? I should see the APL here.
You asked me about Alexa Live.
Nice.
Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders, device makers, and business leaders on July 22nd, 2020.
That's pretty cool.
What can I help you do next?
So by clicking on here, it opened the link in my tab. What I'd be curious to see is how this works on an Echo Show. So let's give that a try. Alexa, open Voice Developer.
Hello, and welcome to Voice Developer.
Alexa, what is Alexa Live?
You asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational...
That's awesome. So they can just tap on the screen and they can see the URL. The last place I want to test this, Alexa Quit, is that's super cool actually. Now I have a way for them, at least on an Echo Show, to be able to click on something. Now what happens if I use the skill in the Alexa app? So I say, open Voice Developer.
Welcome back. Another thing I can do is play speech cons. Bazinga! Just ask me to say a speech con. What would you like to do next?
What is Alexa Live?
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Well, that's weird. Oh, I didn't check for APL. Okay, that's fine. So I got an error. I'll just show you guys that. So I got a very nice error in my app because this interface does not support APL directives. And that is because I am not checking. So I think I do in the... No, I don't check it here either. So there is I think I have this. If I look at helper, I believe that I have a function. Nope, not there, please. Supports APL. So where is it? Put SSML, apply SSML, change voice, wrap SpeechCon, supports APL. Okay, so I already have this function. I just need to wrap both of these in that. So let's do the answer intent first. So do I have helper existing already? I do. Great. So I can say if helper dot supports APL, and I'm assuming it's in handler input into that. Yeah, that looks right. Okay. And then we're just going to take all of our logic, put it inside that if statement, like so. Now it only happens if our device supports APL. So let's rerun this on the app. and see what we get. Open Voice Developer.
Hello, and welcome to Voice Developer. Did you know?
What is Alexa Live?
I think you asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event.
Interesting. I have Open Voice Developer.
Your current SSML properties are domain.
What is Alexa Live?
I think you asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders.
Open Voice Developer. So many different interfaces I need to test for now. You've got like the keyboard mode in the app. Gold Zulu, you still use that? I'm glad, man. I really need to do a revised version of it because I think there's more meat I could put into it, but this helper file has really gone a long way for me. These are things that probably should have been built as pull requests for the SDK, but I just never got around to it. What is Alexa Live? In the chat interface, does it give me anything? No, and that's where I'm going to get tricky. Remember how I did a quick hack where I just used the letter Y to spell live instead of L-I-V-E? It was L-Y-V-E. Well, when you use the chat interface, it actually uses whatever the voice response is to speak to your user in text, which is actually not convenient, but that means that I actually have to do the SSML phonetic rendering of that stuff. That's all right. This was some good tests. Okay, so I have that working though, at least, and we should verify that one more time just to make sure that I didn't break it by adding that if statement, but I don't think so. Make sure that my function actually works.
I think you asked me about Alexa Live. Alexa Live is a free educational event for skill builders, device makers, and business leaders on July 22nd, 2020. What would you like to do next?
Okay, so down here we can see that this works and it launches a browser tab for me. So the last thing we're going to do before we wrap up here today is fix our APL doc. So for our answerlink.json, we have a couple of things that we want to change. The first one is what the open URL source is going to be. That needs to be the URL that we provide. And we also need to change the button text. The button text should probably be, if we look at my data, should probably be the link prefix. Now let's just do that. So in answer intent, let's see. W. Giorgio's here. Good morning, everybody. Gold Zulu's here. Man, this is a party. I'm glad you're all here. So let's go back to this view, and let's make some changes here. So what I want to do is say APL. Let's think about this doc for a second. APL dot document. Now this is where my data sources are supposed to come into play, right? So if I have something like button text, and then my button text is going to be click here to open for now, this, whatever. And then if we look at, because he's not doing any data binding here, I don't think. No. So if we look at this one, I never remember this syntax. So it's he just has all of those set up that way. It's just whatever you call your data source, as I recall. I can't. Why can't I ever remember how to do this? Let's do this. APL data binding. It's one of those things I don't do frequently enough to remember it. All of this is good. I just want the... Ooh, that's going to have to do it for me. Man, that sucks. Okay. So I'm going to have to wrap it up here. And I'll be back tomorrow morning though. We're gonna do this every day this week at least, and then we're gonna see where we go from there. So with that, that's me signing off. I have a call starting, but I will be able to go much longer tomorrow, I hope. So we'll see you guys all then. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll finish up this APL tomorrow. Take care.